Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Khatimin nabiyyin, shafi'il mudhnibin, rahmatan lil alameen. Maulana wa sayyidina Abil Qasim Muhammad. وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرض أرواحنا له الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الإمام الكاظم عليه الصلاة والسلام اللهم صل على محمد ليس منا من لم يحاسب نفسه في كل يوم. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, tonight we are discussing the topic of get out of your comfort zone. This lecture will be on a few different levels, and we have to make sure that I explain these concepts very well and very properly, that no one walks away from here with any misunderstanding. Because some of this may be a new concept for you, some of this may be a new understanding for you. So inshallah, we will try our best to make it as clear as possible. We have this phrase, get out of your comfort zone, and we use it a lot. We use it in many different places. We use it in our work. For example, we're stuck in work, we're in the same position, we want to progress, we want to get a promotion, we want to do better, we want more responsibility, we want more money. People will tell us, get out of your comfort zone, you need to do something different. Try something new, learn a new skill, challenge yourself, do something different. In business, we want progress, we want development, we want growth, we want more profits. We will be told, get out of your comfort zone. Why are you always selling the same stuff? Look into new lines, look into new products, go into new markets, try different strategies, advertise differently, market yourself differently. In school, our predicted grade is one thing. We want to get much better. We want to get a much better grade. Teachers will tell us, professors will tell us, get out of your comfort zone. You're lazy. You're only doing the bare minimum. You want more, then you'll have to try harder. You'll have to achieve more to get more. When you want to become healthier, slimmer, more stamina, more fit, they'll tell us, get out of your comfort zone. Exercise more, change your routine, change this, change that. Whatever you look at in life, this is a very nice phrase in one sense. Get out of your comfort zone. In other words, you're too comfortable at the moment. You're not going anywhere. You need to do something differently, challenge yourself, make life a little bit difficult for you to progress. Okay. Can we use the same phrase for religious growth and spiritual growth? If we use it in business and in school and education and health, in job, in all of these different things, then can we use it in our spiritual life? Can we use it in our religious life? Could it be possible that someone is stuck somewhere in his spiritual way and he's not seeing any progress? The same old, he knows the same old things, he does the same old things, his namaz is the same, it's not really yielding him those results that he wants. His knowledge is at the same level, his spirituality is at the same level, his weaknesses are the same, his mistakes are the same. The sins that he does, he can't shift. He can't get out of his bad habits. So can we use the same phrase in religious and spiritual things? Can we say, for example, get out of your comfort zone? Do something else, do something different? So this will be our discussion tonight. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. To answer this question, we have to ask a few other questions, which I want you all to ask yourselves as I'm speaking. In your own minds, ask yourselves these questions. Are you happy with your current situation? Are you happy with your own level of spirituality, your connection with God, your relationship with Imam Zaman? Are you happy with it? Are you happy with the way community is? Do you like the fact that the community is disjointed, disunited, factions and groupings based on the lines of God knows what? We'll come on to that later. This group, that group, these people do Zanjir, these people don't, these people do Mendi, these people don't. Are you happy with the state of affairs? Are you happy that at the moment in your families, people are not getting along, husbands and wives are not getting along? It's having an impact upon the kids. Are you happy that the kids are becoming so westernized? Are you happy with the current state of affairs? So you'll be asking yourselves this question in your minds. If I have understood anything, I don't know, this is my 6th or 7th time here, I myself lose count. If I've understood anything, it is that people are definitely not happy with the situation. So definitely we need to get out of our comfort zone and do something differently. Because what we're doing now is not yielding the results we want. What we are doing right now is not yielding the results we want. So you know the famous saying, right? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So obviously something has to change and we need to get out of this sad state. I think there are some things we can do. There are some boundaries we can push. There are some levels we can explore. There are some new ways of behaving and interacting in ourselves, in our spirituality, in our religious lives that we can hopefully explore and get better, and maybe then this sad situation will improve a bit. Now, what I'm about to talk about, I'm going to make a prediction right now, and then you tell me later if my prediction was true or not. Okay? So my prediction is, some people, when I finish this lecture, they'll say, nonsense. They'll say, no way. What Islam is this? We've never heard this before in our lives. They'll dismiss it straight away. Other people will say, we've never heard the alim say this before. This is new for us. It may be new for you. Many things are new. Let's see, let's keep an open mind, let's be mature, let's be sophisticated. Let's not fool ourselves that we know everything, that there are still some things that we don't know. Although we're very clever, very smart, very intellectual, but we have to be humble to the truth. The truth, we have to be humble to it. So inshallah we'll explore these things in more depth. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So in the last lecture or two, I've been giving you a hint of this, what I'm about to speak about. The hint is this, that look, we have different levels of maturity. Sometimes we have physical maturity. Yeah? Bulugh. When we say bulugh, usually we're talking about physical maturity. A girl reaches the age of 9, a boy sees the certain signs of bulugh, they become baligh. This is physical maturity. Sometimes then we speak about emotional maturity. That are you able to be an emotionally sophisticated, mature person? Then we talk about mental maturity. Are you able to use your wisdom, your mind? Are you able to think properly, think through? And then we have spiritual maturity. Your soul, what stage is it at? Are you still operating with the soul of a child, childlike soul, adulthood? Where are you in your spiritual development and spiritual growth and maturity? And we gave the example that look, once upon a time, we were kids, we used to play with toys. Lego and building blocks and imaginary friends and cars and all of these things. This is what we used to do. But then as we matured, we grew out of those things. And now you tell us to play with those things, we will find it very boring, offensive, not attractive at all. If you saw right now a person playing with these things in his adulthood, you'll say there's something wrong with this guy. So people mature. When they mature, they see things differently. They have new hobbies, habits. They like new things. They dislike old things. Spiritual maturity is like this. Spiritual maturity means it's possible once upon a time you enjoyed, for example, these are just examples, You enjoyed, for example, watching movies. Now your heart doesn't agree to watch a movie. Could be once upon a time you enjoyed spending hours and hours with friends. Now your heart doesn't agree to spend hours and hours with friends. Could be that you used to be able to talk about rubbish all day. Just, banter. Now your heart doesn't agree to do that. Could be in the past that you used to go to places with friends, maybe non-Muslim friends, where alcohol was being served. Today, you look at alcohol and you feel sick. This is a good sign of spiritual maturity. You see, you're changing. Your mind is changing, your attitude is changing, your outlook is changing. So what the ulama say is that now look, there comes a time in your life, you leave behind all these toys and all these immature things, and you start to work on your real life. You have another life, your real life. Iqbal-e-Lahori says, Chist deen, barkhastan az khak. He says, what is religion other than getting up from playing with dust? Chist deen, barkhastan az khak, taz khud agah gardad jane pak. Only after you release yourself from playing with these toys and childish things, you will achieve a pure heart. These things are holding you back. These things are weighing you down. Your mind is not free. You are not free. We think we are free, but we're not free. Your mind is asir. It's a prisoner of certain things. Your worldly attachments, your worldly luxuries, your cars, your houses, your properties, your clothes, your brands, all of these things are somehow restricting you. When a person becomes spiritually mature, enters into spiritual adulthood, he leaves these things behind. And then he's more free. This is really the concept that the prophets of Allah came to talk to us about. This is what they wanted to tell us. Yes, pray namaz, keep roza, pay your homes, etc., etc. That's all very, very important. But that's not the end of the story. There's another whole chapter which we have not explored. Ke in jahan chahist bas tariko tang hast birun alami bi bo rang. They came to tell us that this world is a dark, narrow well, like the water wells. This world is a dark, narrow well. There's a whole world outside which is so spectacular. But you're just in this small well thinking, oh wow, this is my world. How nice. But it's not. This is a very small, dark, narrow place. You were not made for this. You were made only to land there. You were meant to actually go somewhere else afterwards. Now, a question which arises, do we have to do this? Do we have to really bother with all this? These irfani, mystical, philosophical things, do we really have to? Am I not okay with the way I am? I pray, I don't do anything bad to anyone, I don't oppress, I try my best, I try to be a good person, I raise my kids the best I can, I do azadari for Imam Hussein, I do all of these things. Do I really have to bother with all these difficult concepts and all these poems that this guy is reciting? I mean, really, do I have to? Let's answer this question with salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. See, it depends how you look at this world. It depends how you look at this world. Yeah? So you see a person, for example, okay, he's your friend or he's maybe even your son. Let me take the example of a son that is like quite more touching. Okay, so you have a child, son, daughter, whatever, and you go to parents' evening in your school, right? You go to parents' day or parents' evening. The teacher tells you, your child is doing okay, but she could be doing much, much better. What would you do? Would you say, actually, you know what, you're doing okay, just do that, no problem? You wouldn't. You'd say, you could be doing much, much better. You're falling short of your potential. She'll say, or he'll say, don't worry. The teacher said, I'm doing okay. Why are you bothered? You'll say, no, but your potential is much more. Achieve your potential. In business, you go to a business analyst and you say, look, this is my business. I'm okay. My bills are being paid. I'm eating what I want to eat and I'm living okay. He'll say, yeah, but you know what? By doing a few things, you could be doing triple business, quadruple business. Don't sell yourself short. So, the answer to this thing about must we do this, do we have to? Depends how you look at the world. If you want to stay on bare minimum, just lead a very basic life, then you can maybe not do these things. But if you want to really live a true human life, achieve your potential, then the ulama would say you have to do this. Otherwise you're selling yourself short. You're not achieving your potential. You're not achieving actually the reason why you were created. Allah created us for what reason? For which type of life? Imam Khomeini says something very nice. He says, "Farq man wa buz in nist ke man insan nam wa buz insan nist." He says the difference between me and an animal is not that I'm a human and that's an animal. He says the difference between us is man mitunam insan besham un nemitune insan beshe. I have the ability to become a human being, that doesn't have the ability to become a human being. Otherwise we are the same as animals in most of our lives. Animals like to reproduce, we like to reproduce. Animals like to have good food, we like to have good food. Animals like to sleep in a nice comfortable place, we like to sleep in a nice comfortable place. What's the difference? What about the human values? What about those things that make us uniquely human? Like what? Someone give me an example of a uniquely human value which is not in animals. Values. Empathy. Animals don't have empathy. What else? Generosity. Unique human value. Chastity, haya, unique human value. Courage and bravery, unique human value. Feeling the pain of others, unique human value. Sacrificing your own thing so you can give it to another person, unique human value. Testifying against the self when it's your fault, unique human value. All of these things are unique human things. Animals don't have these. These are the things which separate us from animals. Otherwise we do the same thing as animals. Animals go and they look for food. We wear suits and ties and go in cars and we look for food in the office. We do the same thing. So, should we? Must we? The answer will depend on how you look at this world. If you don't, then you are falling short. You are falling short of your potential. And you are going to lead a very boring life. Very empty life, which will not have the meaning for which Allah intended it to have. So true mercy, kindness, feelings for others, feelings for society, these are true human values. And these will only be able to be awoken in a person when they take this approach. Let's discuss more with Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Ulama say that Allah has two types of mercy. In every single day, you will recite these names. Bismillahir Rahman Ar-Rahim. Two names, very similar, from the same root, but have different meanings. Ar-Rahman means what? Yeah, but what is the beneficent, kind, but what exactly the technical meaning? Rahman, Rahmaniyat of Allah. Rahman is the Rahmaniyat of Allah, is for everybody. It's for everybody. Everyone partakes of the Rahmaniyat of Allah. Everyone. Animals, birds, fish, wild animals, wild beasts, humans, mushrikeen, muwahhideen, Shia, Sunni, Wahhabi, all of them are taking part of the Rahmaniyat of Allah. The sun shines on everybody, the rain falls on everybody, the crops grow for everybody. These are the standard things which Allah gives to everybody. Okay, what about Rahim? Rahim is the special mercy of Allah, reserved for special people. Rahim, Rahimiyat of Allah is not for everybody. Special, it's reserved. Allah wants us to experience which one of these more? The one which everyone experiences, or the special kind? He has a grand banquet for everybody. He has sufraya aam for everybody. And then he has a sufraya khas for certain people. Everyone eats from his grand banquet. Few people will eat from his special banquet. Allah has created us for the second. The first, even the animals are benefiting from. The first, even those who don't know Him are benefiting from. Ya man yu'ti man sa'ala, wa ya man yu'ti man lam yas'alhu, wa man lam ya'rifu. You give to people who ask from you. That's one type of giving. It's an amazing type. And yes, you also give to those who don't even ask you and don't even know you. But that's a different type. So we want to be the people who are partaking of the special hosting of Allah. His special banquet, His special ni'mat, His special bounties. This is where we want to be. Now, what if we do not? Again, this question will come again in your minds. Is this really something we should do? Isn't this something for the Agha Bahjats of this world? Isn't this something reserved for the Imam Khomainis of this world? Can we, small mu'mineen of Bombay, can we really do these things? Of course. Of course. I'll show you examples in history of people completely non-alim but had reached such an amazing state and position in front of Allah. Don't think this is reserved just for people in Hausa or people in Iran or people in special places. No. No. Friends of Allah are everywhere. We don't recognize them. We don't know them. Which is a good thing. Otherwise it'll spoil them as well. But they are everywhere. It can be us as well. Why not? So, what if we do not? Let's have a discussion on this with Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. If we do not push ourselves and get out of our comfort zone, then things will not change. Then we'll be stuck where we are. Mendi happened, didn't happen. This Maulana said this, that Maulana said that. This person wrote this person wrote that. I got this WhatsApp, now I'll forward it to 10 others. But I'll say something so I don't have any responsibility. I love this, Mu'mineen, when they do this, I love it. They forward the WhatsApp, sent as received. No, you are responsible. Don't send it. Delete it. Absolutely delete it. Stop spreading this fitna in the community. Stop disuniting people. Stop adding to the fuel. So if you do not do it, if you do not take this path of getting out of your comfort zone, then things will remain as they were. We'll keep having this fragmented society. We'll keep having these divisions. My point is that these things are very important. Please don't get me wrong. The issues are very important. But unity is even more important than those issues. Issues are very important. Look, I may disagree with you. We may have a debate. We may even have an argument. We may then say, you know what, we agree to disagree, but we're still brothers. When I need you, I expect you to be there for me. When you need me, you can expect me to be there for you. Agree to disagree and move on. Tell me, how many people do you disagree with? How many people do you disagree with? We disagree with, we're in the minority in the world. We disagree with so many people. Our religion is different to so many people out there. Yet we are friends with them, right? We are acquaintances with them, right? But another person with wilayat of Ali, we are not willing to be a friend with. Think very carefully. So we need to adopt a new kind of way of life, a new kind of way of looking, a new kind of way of understanding our religion. Now, something happened in the life of this great poet, Janab Sa'di. Sa'di says that on one occasion, he was inspired by these words. He said, I went on a journey to Makkah for Hajj or Umrah, I guess. He said, I was so tired, I was exhausted. I was so tired that at one point I said, you know what, I'm not going a single step more. I'm sitting here and I'm going to sleep and no one disturbed me. So the people of the caravan, they came to, they said, look man, you're delaying all of us. You're sleeping here. This is not right. We're all delayed because of you. He said, I don't care. I'm not moving at all. I am completely exhausted. Then he says, the leader of the caravan came and he whispered something in my ear which changed not only my physical state, even my mental state changed. That's when it clicked. That's when I had the light bulb aha moment. The person came and said, he said, haram dar pish ast wa harami dar pas. He said, haram is in front of you. Criminals and bad people are behind you. Meaning you've left your home, you've left a worse place, you've come to a better place. Agar rafti burdi, agar mandi murdi. If you now get up and start moving, you'll be victorious. If you stay where you are, you're as good as dead. This is our condition. If we stay where we are, what are we achieving? What are actually we doing here? Maybe we're just like a lump of flesh and bones who is causing, global warming with our carbon footprint, with eating from the resources of this earth. Nothing much more. But we want to be much, much better than this. Allah has created a much, much more beautiful future for us, if only we knew. One example which I want to give you is the example of Pulle Sirat. You know what is Pulle Sirat, right? When I say that word. Okay. Pulle Sirat, when I say Pulle Sirat, what do you imagine? You probably imagine like this fiery, black and red environment where you can see in the distance there's these glowing white gates of heaven, and there's a small bridge in front of you which is linking you to that place, and all the flames of hell are underneath, right? This is the image we have, right? Pulle Sirat. What is Pulle Sirat? In this way of looking at Islam, Pulle Sirat is Pulle Insaniyat. In this way of looking at Islam, now you're no longer imagining that one day I will die and I will go and there'll be a bridge and I have to cross it. Yes, that's true in its own place. But think, what is Pulle Sirat exactly? It's Pulle Insaniyat. It's the pull, it's the bridge of humanity itself. So ulama say this. They say, As-suratul insaniya hiyal jisrul mamdud bainal jannati wan nar. The human condition is the bridge between heaven and hell. That's what you're going to be judged on. That's what you have to cross. So if we take this understanding, then when are we going to cross this Pulle Sirat? Right now. Right now. Metaphorically, right now, we are all on this Pulle Sirat, crossing this Pulle Sirat. Right now, we are trying to become and maintain our humanity. Right now, we are trying to become and maintain being good people. But there are certain things which can happen which can knock us off this pulle sirat, this pulle insaniyat. Like what? A lie, a corruption, a bribe, a bullying, something which is against humanity. You have been knocked off now. Every lie, every corrupt thing, every ghibat, every slander, every fasad and fitna which you do will knock you off this bridge of humanity. Because this is the bridge where Allah wants you to cross. Human beings belong in heaven, right? Not animals. Human beings belong in heaven. So we have to cross this bridge of humanity. Every time you fall short of your humanity, you are falling off this bridge. Now let's discuss about deeds. Where do deeds come in? A'mal, and what does it all mean? How do we put this all together? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Azizan Iman, some people ask, is it wrong to do this deed? Is it wrong to have a nice car? Is it wrong to have a nice house? Is it wrong to have these luxuries in life? This has to be thought about very carefully. Is it wrong to watch a movie? Is it wrong to spend time with friends, etc., etc.? One thing we have to understand is, what are our a'mal? What are our deeds? Deeds are first in their origin disjointed. They're one unit. It's a one thing. You do something, it's a one thing, it's a one unit. It's not linked to anything else. And you perform that deed, it has a certain effect on your soul. Now when that deed is repeated, you do it again and again and again, you lose your guilt. You become rebellious. You do it without shame. You do it without thinking. You do it without guilt. You do it without any kind of remorse. You keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. Now what happens is, those deeds have now, first they were disjointed, now they've come together. And when they come together, they form a firm, established reality in your soul. One off deed here, one off deed there, you do istighfar, inshallah, it's gone. Repetitive bad deeds, repetitive bad sins, they gather, they join together, they become an established thing in your heart. That established thing in your heart is called malakat. And when they join together, the plural is malakat. These malakat are what you are judged by. These malakat are what you are defined by. Because Quran says, laha ma kasabat. Quran doesn't say laha ma amilat. Your soul will be judged according to what it has gained, absorbed, internalized. So every time you perform a deed, good or bad, let's discuss bad at the moment. Every time you perform a bad deed, it's become part of you. You've lost a part of your humanity by exchanging with this evil. You've gained evil, you've lost your humanity, part by part by part. When it becomes more and more, your heart and your soul becomes now full of these evil things. So deeds are done by your senses, your hands, your eyes, your ears, your tongue, etc. This is how we do our deeds, yes? So these things are like tunnels or pipes which feed into a reservoir here. Your heart is a reservoir. The reservoir is now getting full. You do a bit more, you do some ghibat, you look at na-mahram, you touch something you're not supposed to touch, you eat something you're not supposed to eat, you lie, you sin, you're corrupt, you do this, you do that, whatever. Over time now, these tunnels and these pipes are feeding into your reservoir. Now the reservoir is getting full. What happens when it's full? What happens when it gets totally full? There is no room for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now it's full of rubbish, full of trash. Who fed it full of trash? You did. How? Through these tunnels and these pipes. They fed into your reservoir of the soul, now it's full. Now Allah wants to penetrate, Allah wants to gain access, angels want to gain access, they can't. So when people ask these things, that is it okay if I buy an expensive car, expensive watch, branded clothes, these questions you have to understand in the grand context of things. What's your niyat? What effect is it going to have on you? What effect will it have on other people as well? All of these things are very delicate. You have to think about these things. So when it gets full, now there's no more room for haqq. Now Imam Hussein al-Islam will not go into this heart. Amirul Mu'mineen will not go into this heart. Akhlaq of Amirul Mu'mineen will not go into this heart. Delicate nature of Bibi Fatima will not go into this heart. Crying over sins cannot find place in this heart. Waking up in the night to confess one's shortcomings will not go into this heart. Having humanity to others will not go into this heart. We need to very desperately and urgently rid ourselves of this rubbish in our reservoir of the heart. Very urgently. Critical situation. Otherwise we will continuously be distracted with controversies. I hope the controversies haven't yet started, but usually they do start towards Ashura. Controversy around Zanjir, controversy around this group said this and this group said that, controversy around Mehndi, controversy about all sorts of things, this marja, that marja, well, we follow this one but they follow that one. All of these things are doing what for us? Really, hand on heart, ask yourself, am I gaining anything from all of these things, or are all of these simple distractions from the truth? Imam Hussein has any interest in these things? Imam Zaman has any interest in these things? You and me really deep down, if we really peel back all the layers and all the controversies and evils and distractions, really are we gaining anything from this? But we are kept busy. We are kept distracted. And people tell us this and that and WhatsApps and this video and this clip and I found out this and guess what, he said that and then she said this and then this happened. Honestly, is it adding anything to your general way of life, your spirituality, your closeness with God? Is it making you a better soldier for Imam Zaman? Is Bibi Zainab looking at us saying, well done, this is why we died in Karbala. This is why my brother spilled his blood. This is why Ali Akbar was struck down. Really? Let's think. Let's be brave. Let's get out of our comfort zone. If we keep on this path, then I don't see a good future. If we keep on this path, then I don't see a nice outcome at the end of it. We are one generation. Our kids are coming in the next generation. We know the challenges that we faced, and I'm sure you'll agree with me that our kids face even probably 3 times, 5 times more challenge than we faced. And then we add this on top of everything else. Well, things are really not looking very nice unless we change ourselves. As I said, these things themselves, don't get me wrong. Don't let anyone think, oh, he dismissed the issue of Zanjir, or he dismissed the issue of whatever it is. I'm not dismissing anything. These things may be very important. They may have a lot of significance. My point is, at the end of the day, you have to move on. You have to move on. You'll have to come to a point and say, brother, sister, agree to disagree. Now let's talk about something else. This is how mature, sophisticated adults behave. Otherwise we are still playing with toys. We're still very immature. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When you take this path that I've been describing in this lecture, when you start to look at Islam in this way, when you start to think of your own state as a human being, when you are desperate not to give away your own humanity, then very amazing things start to happen. Then, instead of filling your reservoir with rubbish and trash, you can fill it with very amazing enlightened, spiritual things, very clean things, pure things, then all of a sudden you'll become very, very much enlightened. You'll find all these other things very tedious, very boring, very childish. You won't have time for it. You won't have even interest in it. This is where we need to be. That actually, we don't even have interest in these things. This is the stuff of kids. This is what I would expect my kid to argue about in the playground. This doesn't befit me. When you reach this kind of stage of more purity, all of a sudden you'll become very, very sensitive, very astute and alert in many things. One person does ghibat in front of the great Agha Mirza Jawad Maliki Tabrizi. He did ghibat in front of him about someone else. Agha Maliki Tabrizi said to him, "You have put me back 40 days in my journey towards Allah. I heard this, I didn't do it, I didn't want to hear it, but you did it in front of me and I heard it inadvertently. You have put me back 40 days in my journey with Allah. I'll have to go back 40 days now." This is how delicate this situation is. This is how sensitive the soul can be. But how come we don't feel it? How come we don't get these kinds of inspirational things in our mind and heart? How come we can just hear ghibat and have no effect? Because our hearts are almost dead. Our hearts are dying. Because we're not putting enough effort into our spiritual lives. So this bridge that I've been talking about, the Pulle Sirat or Pulle Insaniyat as I like to call it, it's actually the bridge of humanity. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This life is all about crossing this bridge. The bridge is the bridge of humanity. A lie is not compatible with the human condition. Hypocrisy, nifaq is not compatible with the human condition. Corruption is not compatible with the human condition. Fasad and fitna and mischief is not compatible with the human condition. This is knocking us off and not allowing us to be truly human. Why? There's one general rule about this universe which I want you to remember. I mentioned it a few nights ago, but today I will shed some more light on it. Kama tudinu tudanu. Kama tudinu tudanu. Whatever you do in this world, it will come back to you. Either in this world, or in the hereafter, or both. When something goes wrong in our lives, when something bad happens, what do? Many people, they say, someone has done jadoo on me. Someone is jealous on me. Someone has done evil eye on me. Do you know most of these things are our own fault? We have done something and we have attracted some affliction in our lives through our actions. If I go into this, the discussion will become very long and then I'll get complaints. So I have to be careful with the timing, but I will just mention one thing. Forget human beings. The hisab of Allah in this world is so precise, that it even extends into the animal world. One of the ulama said this story. Let me have your full attention with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. One of the ulama said this story. They said we were in a gathering and the food was being served and we were eating as normal, and near us there was another guy eating, and this guy, mashallah, he was eating heavy. He'd eat one dish, he'd call for another dish, call for another dish, call for another dish, whereas our portion was like difficult for one person to finish. He was having 3, 4, 5 portions. He kept on ordering more and more. We said, what's going on? So we decided to ask him. We said, brother, is everything okay? We noticed, you've got this strange habit. Is everything okay? Because it's disturbing. He said, let me tell you what happened. He said there was one night I was eating bread, naan. And when I was eating my naan, I was full. With 3/4 of the naan, I was full. 3/4. 1/4 I did not even want. A dog came. The dog looked and acted in that kind of humble way. You know the way animals act when they want something. They act very humbly and like submissively. The dog acted in this humble and submissive way. I understood it wants this quarter bread which is left over. I could have given it to the dog. I threw it into the gutter. The dog went after the bread. And it tried its best, putting its mouth and paw and this and that, but it could not reach it. And then it went off without getting that bread. He said, since that day, no matter how much I eat, no matter what I eat, I don't enjoy my food and I don't get full. I've been afflicted. Kama tudinu tudanu. What you do will come back in some way or the other. The hisab of Allah is so precise. It is so amazing. Kama tudinu tudanu. What you do, you will get. This is why in the hereafter, when we appear and we are raised from our graves, what will be said to us? هَذِهِ أَعْمَالُكُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْكُمْ. Everything you see from this moment on is your deeds. We are just simply returning them to you. You did them, we stored them, now you get it back. All of this is your deeds. الرَّجُلُ يَتَكَلَّمُ بِكَلِمَةٍ. In hadith it is that a person says things, speaks words, doesn't care, doesn't take care what he's saying, doesn't take care someone is getting hurt, someone finds it bad, someone is getting disrespected. He doesn't care in what he says. He speaks words and doesn't care, and it results in someone getting hurt. He falls the distance of the sky to the earth, meaning he falls from his humanity, he falls from his position. That will come back to him somewhere, somehow. Now, there are many questions which must be in your mind after this. Inshallah, we can discuss offline. That, for example, if all of this is happening, then why isn't the whole world engulfed in azab? Right? That's a good question. So many people are doing so many bad things. So many people are doing so many bad things. Why isn't the whole world engulfed in azab? There are special reasons for this. Inshallah, another time we'll discuss why. Assalamu alayk, Ya Aba Abdullah. Hussein ibn Ali, alayhi salam, in Karbala. The night of Ashura, Aba Abdullah gathers everyone and starts to do the roll call. Who is going to become shaheed tomorrow? He mentions name after name. He doesn't mention one name. This young man comes to Imam Hussein afterwards. Says, "Oh, Uncle Hussein." Because this was Imam's nephew. This was the darling son of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Janab Qasim comes and says, "Oh, Uncle Hussein, you took so many names, you didn't take my name. Please tell me, am I also one of the shuhada tomorrow or not?" Imam says, "Before I tell you, let me ask you a question. Ya Qasim, kayfal mautu indak? How do you see death?" He says, "Oh uncle, if it's for you, then I see death as sweeter than honey." He says, "Ya Qasim, in that case, you are also one of the shuhada of tomorrow." In the morning, the ashab first sacrificed themselves. They did not allow a single drop of Hashimi blood to be spilled while they are alive. This was their deal at night. They said, we will not allow a single drop of the blood of the family of Rasulullah to be spilled while we are alive. And then comes the turn of the Bani Hashim. In the turn of the Bani Hashim, Janab Qasim comes to Aba Abdullah and says, Aba Abdullah, can I have permission to go? You know, all the Panjatan were represented in Karbala. Rasulullah was represented by Imam Hussein himself. Amir al-Mu'mineen was represented by Hazrat Abbas. Bibi Zainab represented Bibi Fatima. What about Imam Hassan alayhi salam? His representative was Janab Qasim. Ya Aba Abdullah, may I have permission? Hussein delays. He tells Qasim, go away, come back later, let's talk later, we'll talk another time, not now. Tries to delay and delay and delay this thing. Qasim understands. Qasim has got the message that he does not want to give me permission. Qasim says, now what do I do? He goes to his mother. He says, Mother, my uncle is not giving me permission. She says, my son, I remember something that your father had told us. Your father had left a certain thing, a certain bundle of documents, something that he had written on. He said to me that when things get tough, you are to open this bundle and read this document and show this document to my brother Hussein. They say, some people say it was kept in a chest. Some people say it was like a ta'weez on the arm of Qasim. They open this bundle, they take out this document, they present it to Aba Abdullah. Imam Hussein alayhi salam sees the handwriting of his brother. He puts it on his eyes. He kisses the letter. It is written there, from one brother to another brother. I want to be represented on the day of Ashura. They had already had these discussions many years ago. When Imam Hassan alayhi salam was treated so badly, when his coffin was fired into, when people had done so much zulm on the janazah of Imam Hassan alayhi salam had said something to Aba Abdullah before that, and Aba Abdullah remembered it. What did Imam Hassan say? He had said to him, La yawma ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. A day will come. There will be no day like your day, O Hussein. Ashura will be something else. Imam looks at the letter. He kisses the letter. He looks at Qasim. Now he knows he does not have any choice. This is the request of his elder brother. He looks at Qasim. Qasim, how can I let you go? You are the last remaining memory of our brother Hassan. Every time we want to remember Hassan, we look at you. Every time we want to do the ziyarat of Hassan, we look at your face. Janab Qasim looks at Aba Abdullah and says, it will be my honor for me to go to fight. They put the armor upon Janab Qasim. They put him on the horse. He says his farewells to everybody. He rides out into Karbala. They say that when he started to recite his poetry, they say that everyone was taken aback, that a young man, a relatively short person, could have so much power in fighting and battle. They say he killed tens of soldiers. But at the end of the day, what can you expect? He was hungry. He was thirsty. He was tired. Eventually, what did they do? They were cowards. They begin to attack Qasim from all sides. Eventually they say, the body of Qasim is knocked to the ground. He cries out, Adrikni, Ya Aba Abdullah, Oh Hussein, my uncle, come to me. Imam Hussein runs towards Janab Qasim. Then what happens? One of the most painful things about this shahadat is that every shaheed imam was able to reach there quite quickly. But with Janab Qasim, the enemies ran their horses over him again and again and again and again. And he kept on shouting, Adrikni ya Aba Abdullah, Adrikni ya Aba Abdullah. When Imam reaches the body of Janab Qasim, he sees a trampled body. They say, this is from Janab Shushtari's book. He says, he narrates this. he says that when Imam went to pick up Janab Qasim, Janab Qasim's body was all over the place. Imam picked him up. He managed to grab him in such a way that he could hold him in one embrace. They say the head of Qasim was on the chest of Hussein. But when Imam was walking towards the tent, the feet of Qasim were dragging on the floor. Now, Janab Shushtari says, this doesn't sound right, because Janab Qasim was short, Imam Hussein was tall. How can the feet of Janab Qasim drag on the floor? He says there's only one of two options. Either the body of Qasim had been trampled so much that the legs were dislocated and they were dragging on the floor, or the back of Hussein was broken and was bent, and that's why the legs of Qasim were dragging on the floor. Allah na'matullahi al-qawmi al-zalimin wa sayyalamu alladhina zalamu ayyam al-karim yanfurun inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Oh Allah, accept our azadari. Oh Allah, increase our unity. Oh Allah, keep us focused on what we are really here to do. Oh Allah, hasten the returns of our 12th Imam. Give us tawfiq to be in his group when he comes. Let us remember all our marhumeen with Al-Fatiha.